what's up you guys, my name is Wolf and welcome back to LEGO Arts. So in the last episode, we did a showcase on the 50th special of the series featuring LEGO Kingdom Hearts 3. So now in this one, I'm not doing a showcase on this minifigure, but I'm letting you guys know that for future references, this is basically my minifigure counterpart. He is the official Cyber Snow Wolf minifigure. He's got his own custom jackets that I made. You can't see it because it's very, very tiny, but he also has my wolf emblem on the front, and on the back, he has some of the concept arts that I did for the channel. So basically, for future references, when I do videos involving my minifigures, he'll probably be featured in this. So in case you're wondering who this is, he is basically me in minifigure format. So you're probably wondering, if I'm not showcasing this, what am I doing for this episode? Well, while making the 50th special, a thought was going through my brain, and that was what are some of my favorite showcases that I've done? This has always been a hard decision for me. But after reviewing some of the videos that I've done, reviewing the showcases that I've done, and whether they be just as a customizer or for the channel, I finally put together a list of, personally with me, my top 10 favorite minifigure showcases. So for this list, I'm basically going to be taking some of the best showcases that have done to me, and some of the ones that I felt were very, very important to me, featuring on the detailing work, the art style I chose for them, and the materials that I used to create them, and at the end of each one, I'll be answering the question for all of you, will I do another showcase revolving around it? So basically, the main rule is that each showcase is going to be revolving around a topic, such as showcases that have been in multiple waves. They will be counting as one showcase. So a majority of the list is not all of the Bendy and Ink Machine showcases. They are all put in one placeholder. And towards the end of the list, before I begin like my top 3 showcases, I'll be going off to pull up some honorable mentions, and I'll give explanations as to why they didn't make it into the list. Okay, so you got all the rules? Got it? Get it? Good? Alrighty then. So, like how we do our showcases, without further ado, let's begin this top 10 list on the road. Woohoo! Number 10, LEGO Avengers. I'll be honest, Marvel minifigures are kind of rare here on the series. For the longest time, my main focus was DC superheroes and video game characters, but then after seeing Avengers Infinity War, and then when seeing other customizers do their own custom Avengers showcases, I finally decided, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do my own style of the Avengers in my own fun and creative way. So after getting all the minifigures that I needed for the showcase, and after a few days of customization for each one, I finally presented the Avengers. And in case you're wondering, why are some of them wearing different outfits from various movies? Well, that was the goal. My goal with the showcase was to sort of do each Avenger in my own fun way. And each outfits that I really, really liked, that I thought was really, really cool. So of why Cap and Black Widow are wearing their suits from Age of Ultron, why Tony's wearing a modified version of the Mark 50 War Machine in the Civil War outfit. Those are the reasons why. Alright, so I'm pretty proud of these minifigures, in general, and because of my own fun way, they gave me the opportunity to be creative with them, especially with the Iron Spider, and the fully customized Wasp minifigure, and I'm still to this day proud of that Black Panther minifigure, especially the headpiece. And the reason why it's very low on the list is that even though I like this showcase, it's not fully compared to the rest of the crazy stuff that I've done on this series. So, to answer the question, will I do more Avengers minifigures? Yes, actually. I'm going through plans right now to do a Captain Marvel minifigure. It probably won't come around by the time Endgame reveals, but I am working on it, and I hope to get it done as soon as possible. And I hope to do other styles of Avengers in futures, like some of the other variations from their other movies, such as Captain America and his World War II outfits, some of the Avengers in Quantum Realm outfits, maybe a new Iron Man armor. So definitely keep your eyes and ears peeled out for more Marvel minifigures to come onto the future. Number 9, the Batman family. This showcase holds a very special place in my heart, because not only was it the first episode of the series, but it was also one of the first showcases that I ever worked on, or done. This was one of the original LEGO showcases that I started out. I remember customizing my minifigures pretty much almost every day, because I would always come up with like new ideas, find new decals, new everything to really make it into the Batman family that I wanted it to be. And one of the reasons is that why it's not higher up on the list is because my skills have really evolved over time. So these guys are not nearly as creative as some of the other stuff that I've done, but that's knowing that they were some of the first minifigures I've done, one of the originals that I've done, I felt like I should have at least either put them on the list or gave them an honorable mention. And when doing my creative minifigures such as the Arkham Knight version of Batman, Robin, Red Hood, Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, I really felt like that these minifigures were very, very important, and they needed to be on this list. So, to answer the question, will I do more minifigures revolving around this showcase? I actually am thinking about maybe redoing some of them, like my Red Hood, Batwoman especially. I still have plans to redo her in the style of Elseworlds. Maybe Red Robin. I haven't decided on that one yet. And I still plan to do other versions of Batman, such as what I did the Batman Ninja minifigure. I mentioned that I plan on doing other versions of Batman in the future. So I am thinking about doing versions such as futuristic style, villainous versions like Batman Beyond and Owlman, and then some of the other classic comic books like Vampire Batman, Gaslight Batman, and a bunch of others. So Batman will return to the channel. I haven't figured out in what version of it yet, but know that the family will be making a comeback. Number 8, Doctor Who. Going back to another one of my old showcases, I felt that this one definitely had to make it to the list. Back when starting out as a customizer, Doctor Who became one of the things that I constantly had to keep going back to make improvements, make changes, make everything. Originally, this first started out as just the 11th Doctor, as well as the 10th, with companions Rose Tyler and Clara Oswald, and even an earlier version of K9, with my old TARDIS, which was basically the same size, both outside and inside. Then, as I started getting better at my skills, and when LEGO announced that LEGO Ideas was going to be doing a Doctor Who set, I then decided to step it up a notch and recustomize, putting in some new characters, new companions, and new doctors, and even building my own custom TARDIS interior. That interior started out, eventually became the starting point of how I do my art styles when it comes to the showcases. I'm combining Lego bricks with everyday items such as cardboard, metal, clay, and a bunch of other stuff. And I'm still learning with new techniques, trying out with new ideas with each showcase that I do. So this eventually became the starting point of my own of Lego Arts to what it's become today. And it even became a sort of a fun way of doing my own customs. Like, even before they announced that the Doctor was going to be a woman, I did my own custom female Doctor as to what the Doctor would look like if it was a woman. And after they announced it, I recustomized it into the actress that she is now. So, to answer your question, will I do Doctor Who again? I honestly don't know. If I do another showcase like this, it might be featuring new monsters like the Ice Warriors, the Zygons, and maybe the new style of the Daleks, or it could be featuring some of the classic Doctors, like their own interior, their own companions, and the Doctors from 1 to 8. So Doctor Who will be on a maybe that if I get enough motivation to do it, I'll then consider on doing it. But for now, Doctor Who will be on the maybe list. So let's keep going down to our list. Number 7, Cuphead, Don't Deal with the Devil. This showcase was, well, it's not very detailed, unlike with the second wave. This showcase centered around more of sculpting skills. That for the longest time of doing this series, my sculpting skills consisted of doing headpieces that would not come off, hair pieces, occasionally like hood pieces that kind of would work, but at the same time not. This showcase tested out my sculpting skills, to the newest level. Of when making head molds without having like a template underneath. Cuphead and Mugman and Miss Chalice's headpieces were definitely were not easy to do. And the second versions of when redoing Mugman and Cuphead were definitely even harder, but actually came out pretty good. And when doing one of my rare minifigures of how I would take a tall minifigure here that I felt was very appropriate for Mr. King Das, and when finding some old Bionicle pieces to construct the Devil. This showcase really went on a more, not necessarily on detailed side, but for sculpting side, this really was a challenge for me to accomplish. So, to answer the question, will I do more Cuphead minifigures? I honestly don't know. No, this is something that I'm jumping back and forth between whether or not to do more in the future. And if I do more Cuphead minifigures, they'd probably be centering around more of the bosses. But I haven't fully figured out of how I would proceed through those figures. Like, would I do them in giant? Would I do them in minifigure size? I don't fully know. So, for now, Cuphead is on a maybe side. But until then, Cuphead has remained one of my best showcases that I've done so far. So, this one definitely had to make it into the list. Number 6. Five Nights at Freddy's. I'll be honest with you guys, at first this was one of the last horror topics that I would ever want to do, because back when this first came out, I wasn't a huge fan of the game. I didn't even understand the concept of the game until I began watching Let's Plays of this. But after doing Bendy and the Ink Machine, I then thought like, people really seem to like horror, and there's a huge fan base revolving around FNAF. So I decided, how about we do my own interpretation of LEGO Five Nights at Freddy's. These minifigures tested out hand painting skills and also detail work, especially on those heads. The heads required a lot of attention to detailing. Same thing with sculpting. So they really gave me the opportunity to put my skills to the test to see how they would turn out. And for the first try, they actually turned out pretty good. I'm pretty proud of them. Especially with the foxy head, as well as the detail work for Golden Freddy, Springtrap, and even when making that conjoined mess that is mangled, and my own interpretation of what Purple Guy would look like if he had his own security guard outfits, and entered in his own unique style of combining Legos with pretty much everyday materials. So to answer the question, will I do more FNAF minifigures? I am planning on at least doing a second wave of Sister Location. I haven't decided if I'm going to be doing some other characters like the toy versions, the nightmare versions, maybe even the twisted ones, or the characters from Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator later. But I do plan to do a second wave on Sister Location. So FNAF will be making a comeback, but I haven't fully decided on how big of a comeback it will be making. Number 5, How to Train Your Dragon. Going back to another one of my old showcases that I did back in the day, not only is this one of my favorite showcases, but it's also one of my favorite builds to have ever done on the channel. I remember clearly back when making this thing, it wasn't like requested by somebody. This was merely something I wanted to do for a long time, so I spent the entire day binge watching on dragons and while building this thing at the same time. And I was really glad to actually take the opportunity to go back to this minifigure and redo it in a new art style based off of The Hidden World. Which, side note, I have not seen that movie yet, so please no spoilers. I have heard it's very, very good, so I definitely want to check it out for the future. And when doing this showcase, it was very, very fun to do on building my own design with Toothless. Yes, he's a bit bigger than expected to be, but at the time, I didn't really care about size. I just wanted it big enough for where Toothless could really move around, move his wings, move his arms, move like his legs into his tail, and big enough for where Hiccup can ride him, just like in the movie. So, Oh, will I be doing more How to Train Your Dragon sets? Honestly, no. Like, maybe Astrid and Stormfly if I have enough parts for the dragons, but I honestly don't really feel the need to, like, go back and try to do, like, the rest of the dragon riders and their dragons. I know that seems kind of a shock because the series is very, very good and it's one of my favorites, but I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time revolving around this. This is sort of like one of my rare one-time things. But I really do like this set. It's one of my favorites of all time, and if you guys like it too, that's awesome. If you don't, that's okay as well. So, Toothless and Hiccup definitely needed to go on this list, and I'm really, really proud to have this showcase here on this channel. Number 4, Sword Art Online. And even though the anime has its ups and downs sometimes, this showcase was probably one of my trickier ones, fabric wise. A little bit with sculpting, but not too much. But with the fabrics, these actually turned out better than I was expecting. The first wave of doing the fabrics around Kirito's coat and Asuna's skirts, definitely came out a little bit better than I expected to. Same thing with Leafa and Sinon's fabrics as well. Now, granted, I still can't move their legs or bend their arms, but this definitely turned out a little bit better than I was expecting to. This also centered around of trying out some new skills of doing, or like with Sinon's scarf, or Leafa's wings, and Kirito and Asuna's swords, which to this day probably have to be some of the best swords I ever did, especially that Dark Repulsor sword. It was awesome to build that one. And I hope to like use those techniques that I learned from from these waves to apply on to future showcases revolving around fabrics and weapons. So, to answer the question, will I do more Sword Art Online? I'm kind of hoping to do more Sword Art. People still have mixed feelings about this anime, but honestly, we have mixed feelings about everything, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, I'm hoping to in the future to like do more characters revolving around it, like some of the more iconic ones, like Klein, Liz, Silica, fan favorites Yuki, and maybe even going into like some of the video game characters such as Strea and Philia. So I do plan to try out with more techniques with fabrics, and to work on more weapons revolving around sword arts. Now, before I unveil my top 3, here are a few honorable mentions. Jacksepticeye and Wishu. Now, before I get invaded with comments saying they are no longer a couple, I am aware that they are not. But one of the reasons I did this showcase was because these two are some of my favorite YouTubers. Like, every time that I feel like sad or depressed or like having a bad day, I like to go into YouTube and just watch their videos and see them like happy of enjoying their content, enjoying their positivity, and in general, just being very, very nice people. So the huge reason of why I did this showcase was as my way of saying thank you for just being these amazing people and enjoying on their content and everything. So one of the reasons is that they're on the honorable mentions is because of those reasons. And even though they're not fully as customized as some of the other stuff that I did, well, maybe the Colossus, like Gaius, he'd be customized. I still feel like that these should be at least put on the honorable mention. And even as showing my little creativity side on showing Dr. Schnieperstein's outfit, as well as Jack's interpretation of what it looked like as an Arstotzkin officer in his Glory Greatest outfit. So, to answer the big question, will I do another showcase like this? I do actually plan on doing an Ego special showcase. Okay, featuring some of the Egos on Jacksepticeye and Markiplier. For Mark's Egos, I'm going to have to double check to see what are his main Egos. But for Jack's, I have a solid idea that I plan to do, Jackaboy Man, Chase Brody, and Antisepticeye. I might do a few other Egos on Jack's side, but first I need to figure out with Mark's. So, Jackaboy will return back into the I'll return back to the showcases, so be sure to keep your eyes and ears peeled for those. Supernatural. Going back to another one of my old showcases, this one definitely had to make it into the honorable mentions. When I first did this set, I remember of it being like one of the rare showcases that I would do that involved a vehicle. Not in the number of minifigures, because I've done a bunch of others, but with vehicles, I rarely build vehicles to be added into showcases. And this one was one of those vehicles. When building the Impala, I wanted to build it in a way that where like Dean could drive and Sam could like sit in the passenger seat, leaving enough room between the two, and also building a back seat for passengers that they may come along, like Castiel, Crowley, and anybody else belonging to the gang. So when doing this set, it was really figuring out how to place those figures, and keeping even this style up accurate to how it is on the show. Even though I haven't seen it in a while, I have heard that Supernatural still retains its good elements, and I'm really proud that this showcase was able to be put up on the channel. Especially of how I put in the arsenal and added in some of the iconic weapons like the cult, the first blade, the demon killing knife, and even that purgatory axe. So, if you're wondering, will I do Supernatural again? I honestly don't really feel the need to go back to there. Like, for so long, I haven't done LEGO Supernatural, so at the moment, I don't really feel the need. Maybe to do that to like recustomize Sam and Dean into like new outfits. I already done that with Castiel, and I have no need to do that for Crowley because he's no longer on the show. But aside from that, those are like the main characters, and at the moment, I don't really feel like there's anybody else that I could do. Like, maybe I could do like Jack, Bobby, Rowena, Gabriel, Chuck, and Lucy. But aside from those characters, I'm not feeling the need that LEGO Supernatural needs a reboot. But that still doesn't change the fact that I am proud of this showcase for what it is today, and I hope you guys are as well. Nightmare Before Christmas. Being one of the most popular Halloween movies of all time, I definitely wanted to do this as my way to celebrate Halloween last year. And I'll be honest with you guys, this one I kept jumping back and forth for a really, really long time. Mostly in the sense of wondering, like, how would I be able to pull this off? And the results was this. At first, I wasn't fully engaged to do this until after my trip to Comic-Con, when I picked up some minifigures on a custom Sally and a custom Jack Skellington. They were cool. They were really, really cool, especially all that detailing work the person put in to Jack's suit, as well as Sally. But there was still something off, and I realized I wanted to make some changes to them. And so for Sally, I repainted her skin tone, and applied on a new hairpiece, and I completely made my own custom Jack Skellington. The suit is not nearly as good as the other one, but I did this minifigure in a way to capture the likeness of Jack Skellington, specifically like his height and some of his features. And that face work that I did on the headpiece, especially for the first time, for first try, was really worth it. So I'm really proud of that minifigure here. And also when doing Zero, I've mentioned it so many times, but when doing Lego dogs, it's been really hard to catch the likeness. So for Zero, I had to really think outside of how I would proceed through that. And once I did, the rest came out pretty well. So, will I do another Nightmare Before Christmas wave? I actually do plan to do that this Halloween. I originally wanted to do this showcase on having some other characters like the Mayor, and Mr. Oogie Boogie, and of course like the Boogie Boys. But I was sort of on a time schedule because I was busy like doing other videos, life, and also planning on doing the Bendy and the Ink Machine live stream that turned out to be a fail. Hopefully, if I try that again, it won't. But I'm hoping that this year, since I'll have enough time, I'm hoping that I'll get the opportunity to build the rest of Halloween Town's characters, and maybe even a few other monsters just from iconic Halloween lore. Now then, now that we're done with the honorable mentions, let's move on to my top 3 favorite showcases. Number 3, Detroit Become Human. Being one of my favorite video games of all time, the showcase has become one of my favorites of all time as well. Well, this sort of became a combination of using both decal works as well as hand painting works for these minifigures. Granted, a majority of them are in like hand paintings, but with the exception of the few in decals, such as Connor, Hank, and North. My first wave, it was mainly just to center around the main 3 characters, Connor, Kara, and Marcus. Yes, as well as adding some of their closest allies such as Hank, North, and Alice. The second wave, I decided to step it up a little bit by adding in Sumo, Umo, Josh, Simon, Luther, Trey, and Tracy, and even doing a Jacksepticeye version about what he would look like as an android. And then what became one of my proudest minifigures was the Jericho Infiltration Connor. I really like that minifigure because it was one of my first attempts at fabrics. Granted, it wasn't entirely what I was aiming for, but at least with that one, I can actually move his limbs a lot more than my current fabrics, which I'm still working through that, and I hope to get better at it in the future. Detroit Become Human, it's really both my favorite video game, and I really became very, very proud of these minifigures. Even though I had to make a couple of changes to some of the characters, I'm proud of them, no matter what. So, on to the question, will I do Detroit Become Human again? Yes, actually. I plan to do at least 2 more waves. I'm working through plans on doing a Chloe minifigure. I also finished doing RK900, and I'm working on doing alternate versions of some of the other characters, and potentially the bear from the Zlatko chapter from the game. And those will probably take a while for me to get around to, but Detroit Become Human is making a comeback to the channel, and I can't wait for it to happen. Number 2, Kingdom Hearts. Going back to another one of my old showcases, this one has to be the biggest out of all the other ones. Back when I first started customizing, I wanted to do Kingdom Hearts so badly, but back then I always would go on the internet and try to find the decals that other people have made. But the only ones I ever was able to find were torso pieces of Sora and Riku. So afterwards, I finally then decided, you know what? If I'm going to be a customizer, I'm going to use materials to my own making. So what I started doing was using some software apps such as Drawcast, and now the same equipment that I use for my thumbnails to start making decals, and Kingdom Hearts was one of them. I remember painstakingly looking at so many different photos of so many outfits in just about every angle, so I can make sure that I got all the details correct. And I went from doing the original six, such as Sora, Riku, Roxas, Kairi, Naminé, and Shion, to now doing Organization 13, Xehanorts, Ansem, the Birth by Sleep group, Vanitas, Final Boss Shion, Hood, an upgraded version of Hooded Roxas, and I'm now beginning to use and to now make my own Keyblades from my original starting points of doing cardboard and gluing on paper to now actually using my molding clay and using parts as Lego pieces to build Keyblades. So this showcase, so this whole series in general for Kingdom Hearts has really evolved, and I'm super proud that KH3 became the 50th special for this series. So, will I do more Kingdom Hearts? I'm honestly hoping that I will gain the motivation again to do it. I originally had plans to do a couple of other showcases, such as the Foretellers, and even an armored special of the Birth by Sleep group. But I didn't complete any of those because of mainly time and interest, of how I was busy with other stuff, like life, other videos, other showcases, and just other stuff in general. And as I started focusing more on those stuff, I slowly lost motivation to do the rest. So I'm hoping to gain more motivation to maybe do the Union leaders such as Ephemer, Scold, Blaine, Strelitzia, and other characters, especially now that Kingdom Hearts has closed the book on the Seeker of Darkness saga, and is now going to open up to a brand new chapter into the series. So I can't wait to see where it's going to go, and I really can't wait to regain that motivation to bring more Kingdom Hearts characters to this series. And now, to bring up to the big moment you have all been waiting for. Be honest, how many of you chose this as your number one? Number 1, Bendy and the Ink Machine. Much like the video game, I did not expect that this showcase would actually come out super well. No. When I first did the first wave of Bendy and the Ink Machine, sometime after seeing chapter 3 from some other YouTubers, I decided to do that as like a new custom line, just for the fun of it. So I did my first 3 minifigures on that: Bendy, Boris, and Alice Angel, all of which in their cartoon formats. And within a month, that video has reached a little over 4,000 views, which is pretty much more than anything else that I ever made. So as a way to say thank you to all of you, I made the second wave, which that one surpassed, and has now reached a little over 25,000 views, which is absolutely insane for me. And still to this day, I find it both funny and amazing, is that still to this day, one of the things that I said in the second video was that if I got a comment that said hashtag Lego Bendy, I would do more Bendy figures. I've done about 4 other waves, and still to this day, I am receiving comments that say hashtag Lego Bendy. Oh, Bendy. So then afterwards, I then started going back to the other characters, such as the Butcher Gang, the other monsters, there's even the Nightmare Run characters, as well as Bertram in the form of what he looked like as a small minifigure, and then eventually doing that ridiculous DIY where I dressed up as Joey Drew, at least my interpretation of it, and then later on as Connor sent to destroy Joey. So this showcase pretty much has really gone far pretty well. Not as fully detailed and detailing wise, such as with Detroit Become Human and Kingdom Hearts, but sculpting wise, this set really took me and tested my skills on it, especially minifigures such as Boss Bendy, the Nightmare Run bosses, and that brute Boris Big Fig that I am still proud of to this day. Now, to the big question that I bet all of you are wondering, will I do more Lego Bendy minifigures? At first, I said no. At first, I said that I wasn't going to do any more Bendy, and the main reason was because there was no one else left to do, for I covered every character, even the minor ones, all the way to the point for it was just like, now what do I do? And plus, I didn't want to get stuck on doing one continuous build all the time. So it was a way. So after the Bertram wave, it was a way for me to take a step back from Bendy. Now, however, since we are getting all these teasers for a new game, and even Meatly is beginning to do this word game. So far, we've gotten Benevolent Demon, I have decided, if the second Bendy game releases any new characters, whether they be cartoons, or monsters, or even actual versions of some of the workers there, like Thomas Connor, Wally Frank, Susie Campbell, Alison Pendle, even Henry Stein himself, then I'll do those characters. But otherwise, Bendy needs to. We need to move on from Bendy. But this showcase has definitely surpassed some of the others, and I am super proud of how far it's gone. And that concludes this list of my top 10 favorite showcases, and that does it for this episode of LEGO Arts. Though aside from the list, pushing that aside, I am proud of each and every one of my showcases that I do on this channel, and that I do in my free time. I always give it my all in each minifigure that I do, and there will be a minifigure for I'll feel like, maybe this isn't good. And I either, sacrifice it, reforge it into something new, or I try to go back and fix it. But either way, I always put a lot of effort into each of my minifigures, and I give it my all. And if you're thinking about, doing customization, like customizing your own minifigures, it doesn't matter what form of art style you go with, I encourage that you give it your all, that you try it in any form you want, the only limit is your imagination when it comes to stuff like this. And if you keep trying, you'll get a lot better at this. Yes, and I am very proud that we've managed to make it to 50 showcases this far. So next episode, and for future episodes, we should be getting back into the showcases as well. So for future showcases, as I mentioned, the ones I've mentioned, and that is for sure, are gonna be such as like Captain Marvel, Detroit Become Human, maybe Bendy if new characters are released, hopefully Kingdom Hearts, and many, many more. I'm now really kicking into gears on other sets such as Overwatch. That's now coming along much better than anticipated. I'm also considering on doing Subnautica. As sort of like my own fun twist to it. And potentially more Indiana Jones minifigures. I haven't fully decided on that, but I'm still. But if I do decide on who to do, I'll be sure to get that showcase in. So be sure to keep your eyes and ears peeled out for like more showcases to come to the future. And if you want to check out my other 50 Lego Arts showcases, you can check them all out on my channel through my playlist. You don't have to watch them all in order, but if you have like a particular favorite, go ahead and check it out. So if you guys want to see more showcases, more projects like this in the future, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications. It really, really helps us work on Let's Plays, Lego projects, and we're mainly here to have some fun. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that like button, comment below what you think, share this to your friends, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Twitch, and here's a hop on the road. Woo! Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time when the ice moon rises.